The sun was rising over the city when the first signal appeared. It was faint, almost like a whisper across the radio waves, but scientists knew immediately that it was not of human origin. Dr. Karen Lewis, one of the lead astronomers at the Global Space Observatory, stared at the screen, heart racing. The frequency was unlike anything recorded before. It pulsed with a rhythm that felt intentional, almost like a heartbeat. Within hours, governments around the world confirmed the same signals. Soon, an alien craft emerged from the outer atmosphere. It hovered silently above Earth, massive yet elegant, its surface shimmering with colors that shifted like liquid metal. People around the world watched in awe and fear. No one had expected first contact to happen so quickly, and no one could predict what it would mean. Leaders convened emergency meetings. Military officials were on edge, their minds running through every possible scenario. Scientists insisted that diplomacy and careful communication should come first. Despite their differing approaches, one fact was undeniable. Humans were no longer alone in the galaxy. The aliens did not attack. Instead, they sent emissaries, small, sleek ships descending gently to designated cities around the world. Their arrival was peaceful, their movements deliberate. From these ships emerged beings with tall, slender bodies and luminous eyes. They spoke in a language humans could only understand through translation devices, their words soft yet filled with authority. "We seek knowledge," one of the aliens said to the leaders of Earth. "We wish to understand your species and your ways." On the streets, people stared in amazement. Children clutched their parents' hands. Journalists scrambled to capture every detail. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for decades, yet the reality was far more extraordinary than anyone could have imagined. Dr. Lewis and her team were among the first humans allowed to meet the aliens. They observed them with careful attention, noting the alien anatomy, their unusual gestures, and the strange patterns in their speech. Every movement was precise, almost mathematical, and their eyes seemed to reflect knowledge beyond anything humans could comprehend. At the same time, military strategists watched from a distance, quietly analyzing the aliens' technology. They noticed that despite the peaceful appearance, the alien ships were highly advanced. Energy shields shimmered faintly around their hulls, and propulsion systems operated without visible exhaust. It was clear that humanity was encountering a civilization far beyond its own level of technology. Yet amid the awe and admiration, some humans felt an unspoken tension. Humanity had survived countless wars, disasters, and crises. The species was clever, resilient, and remarkably adaptable. If pushed, humans could organize, strategize, and act with precision that surprised even themselves. The military veterans among the observers knew that humanity's true strength lay not just in technology, but in creativity, unpredictability, and determination. In the following days, humans and aliens began exchanging knowledge. Scientists shared theories of physics, biology, and technology, while aliens demonstrated devices that seemed almost magical to human eyes. They showed humans how to manipulate energy, understand distant planets, and communicate across vast distances in ways that challenged the imagination. Still, something puzzled the aliens. They had studied many species in the galaxy, yet humanity behaved differently. Humans were cooperative and curious, yet always seemed ready for challenges, never fully trusting, always analyzing, always planning. The aliens noted the presence of weapons, military strategies, and defense systems that humans never openly displayed. There was an underlying strength, a readiness that humans carried quietly, almost casually. The first real test came unexpectedly. A small alien reconnaissance craft, one of the smaller ships sent to study Earth from the sky, encountered a minor technical issue while flying over a city. It began to malfunction and drift toward a crowded area. Human engineers and pilots acted quickly, using drones and ground-based systems to stabilize the ship. Within moments, the craft was safely guided back to open space without causing harm to anyone. The aliens observed in silent amazement. No human panicked. No human acted recklessly. Every action was calculated, precise, and effective. For the aliens, this was the first hint that humanity might not be as defenseless as it appeared. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens were drawn into the moment. People offered help in ways that surprised even themselves. Engineers from different countries coordinated to create emergency power solutions. Civilians helped guide emergency systems and traffic to ensure safety. Children watched from windows, learning quickly that humanity could rise to the occasion no matter the danger. Dr. Lewis reflected on the events as she looked at the stabilized alien craft. "They came thinking we were a simple species," she said quietly to a colleague. "They don't see how humans act when truly challenged." The aliens began their own investigations. They sent teams to study Earth's history, not just recent events, but millennia of human conflict, creativity, and survival. They observed wars, rebellions, and revolutions, noting how humans always found unexpected ways to overcome obstacles. Patterns emerged that fascinated the aliens. Humans were not the strongest or the fastest species, but they were incredibly resourceful. They learned quickly, adapted, and turned disadvantages into advantages. As the days passed, humans continued to welcome the aliens with curiosity and caution. Public demonstrations of diplomacy, cultural exchanges, and scientific collaboration continued across the globe. Schools, museums, and research facilities became gathering places for alien and human collaboration. Citizens of all ages marveled at alien technology, eager to learn and share. Despite this openness, the military quietly prepared contingency plans. They analyzed alien technology, simulations of potential conflict scenarios, and strategic responses. While outwardly friendly, humans kept a careful eye on every movement of the alien visitors. If diplomacy failed, humanity wanted to be ready. The aliens noticed this subtle vigilance but did not fully understand it yet. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, Dr. Lewis walked along a quiet street near the observatory. The sky shimmered, with alien lights as smaller ships hovered in patterns above the city. She thought about the future. Humans had survived against incredible odds before: plagues, wars, environmental disasters. Now, a new challenge appeared in the form of beings from another world. Yet for all their technology and knowledge, the aliens had not seen the full measure of humanity. They had glimpsed cleverness, ingenuity, and curiosity, but they had yet to witness the determination, strategy, and relentless spirit that humans carried within themselves. The seeds of what would later be called humanity's true nature as a war machine were quietly growing, unseen but powerful. In the early hours, another signal arrived from the alien fleet. Unlike before, this one was not a greeting. It was a series of observations, a record of human responses, and an attempt to analyze their behavior. The aliens were beginning to understand that humans were not like other species. There was a complexity to their actions, a mixture of creativity, caution, and courage that made them unpredictable. As Dr. Lewis watched the stars, she wondered how humanity would respond if conflict ever arose. She knew that humans were peaceful by choice, not by weakness. And in that thought lay both hope and warning. The aliens had come to Earth seeking knowledge, but in time they would learn that humans were capable of more than they imagined. By the end of the first week, relationships between humans and aliens had stabilized. Cultural exchanges continued, scientific collaboration flourished, and diplomacy maintained a careful balance. Yet beneath the surface, humans prepared quietly, adapting and learning, demonstrating strength without arrogance. The aliens, fascinated, but cautious, had begun to adjust their expectations. They had come thinking they were meeting a species that could be guided, perhaps even dominated. Instead, they saw hints of a species that could survive, adapt, and fight in ways that defied prediction. The ultimate surprise, though, had not yet arrived. Humanity was calm, curious, and welcoming. But if provoked, it would become something else entirely. Something the aliens had never anticipated. Something that would forever change how they viewed this small blue planet in the vast galaxy. And so the first contact ended not with fireworks or battles, but with quiet observation, mutual respect, and a growing sense of curiosity, on both sides. For the humans, it was a chance to show their world to another civilization. For the aliens, it was only the beginning of understanding a species that was far more complex, capable and surprising than they could ever imagine. Days passed since the first contact, and Earth seemed calmer, but the world beneath the surface was alive with preparation. While the aliens focused on observing human behavior and culture, humans quietly studied the alien technology, looking for patterns, understanding energy systems, and testing responses to unexpected situations. In a high-security facility, a group of engineers and scientists worked tirelessly. They were not only learning from the alien technology but also imagining how humans could adapt it if needed. Dr. Lewis watched over the team, fascinated by their ingenuity. "They came thinking we would only admire them," she said. "They don't realize how fast humans learn." Meanwhile, in cities across the globe, ordinary citizens noticed small changes. People coordinated traffic to make room for alien vehicles, children practiced new languages to communicate, and communities volunteered to assist with cultural events. Humanity's adaptability was visible in every corner of the planet. No one was left behind. Every individual contributed in some way. The aliens, on the other hand, were becoming increasingly curious. They sent small test probes into human society, observing how humans reacted to unusual situations. In one experiment, alien drones simulated a minor threat in a crowded area. Humans responded quickly but calmly, organizing evacuation routes, assisting the vulnerable, and minimizing chaos. The aliens recorded every movement, their curiosity deepening. On the outskirts of a city, a group of young engineers demonstrated an improvised energy shield using components from alien and human technology. The device was crude yet effective, and it worked even better than expected. "Humans are incredibly resourceful," one alien noted to another, its voice translated mechanically. "Even with limited resources, they find solutions." At the same time, governments and military leaders continued discreet preparations. They were not aggressive, but they understood the stakes. Humanity had faced threats before, and history had shown that under pressure, humans could do the unexpected. Simulations of potential conflict scenarios were conducted, testing human adaptability, decision-making, and teamwork. In one such simulation, a fleet of drones represented an alien attack. Military leaders were impressed as humans devised unconventional strategies, using terrain, misdirection, and rapid coordination. Even when things did not go as planned, humans adjusted quickly, finding new solutions in moments of pressure. The aliens observing remotely were intrigued. They had never seen such flexible strategy executed with speed and accuracy. Meanwhile, public relations between humans and aliens continued to flourish. Cities hosted exhibitions of human culture, music, and science. Aliens were amazed at the diversity of human creativity. In schools, children exchanged drawings, stories, and ideas, learning from each other. Yet beneath the visible harmony, a quiet strength was growing, unseen but unmistakable. Captain David Moore, a decorated veteran of past conflicts, was among those quietly preparing. He walked through a training facility where soldiers practiced adaptive strategies, improvising with limited tools. "They might think we're simple," he said to his team, "but we survive because we can think when others panic. That's our real power." The aliens, intrigued, decided to conduct a more direct observation. They simulated a natural disaster, sending signals to test human emergency response systems. Cities experienced controlled blackouts, minor flooding in training areas, and communication challenges. Humans responded with remarkable coordination. Engineers rerouted power, volunteers assisted in evacuation drills, and decision-makers adapted instantly. "Humans are unpredictable," an alien whispered. "They do not rely on strength alone, yet they overcome obstacles with strategy and determination. They learn faster than any other species we have studied," Dr. Lewis observed from her lab, noting the alien data streams. "It's not just their intelligence," she explained to a colleague. "It's their creativity, teamwork, and willingness to act. That's what makes them dangerous, or perhaps remarkable." The next week brought another incident. An alien scout attempted to observe a remote human military facility. The humans noticed immediately, not through brute force but through pattern recognition and intelligence analysis. They deployed countermeasures, redirecting the scout safely without alerting the public. The aliens watched, astonished. Humans had neutralized the threat without confrontation, demonstrating strategy, patience, and precision. Even scientists and engineers contributed indirectly. By analyzing alien propulsion systems and energy signatures, humans anticipated the scouts' movements. By combining knowledge from diverse fields, humans created solutions that no single approach could achieve. The aliens began to understand that human intelligence was collective, distributed, and adaptable. In parallel, communities continued to support peaceful interaction. Civilians offered shelter for alien visitors, children exchanged games and ideas, and cultural understanding deepened. Yet every act of kindness carried an undercurrent of awareness. Humanity had always survived by balancing cooperation with preparation, and the arrival of the aliens was no exception. The aliens, initially impressed by human hospitality and curiosity, now started to notice contradictions. Humans appeared peaceful, but their history and capability for rapid adaptation suggested they could be formidable if provoked. They were not like the species the aliens had studied elsewhere. Humans were unpredictable in a way that could turn disadvantage into advantage. In a quiet room at the observatory, Dr. Lewis reviewed the latest alien report. It was filled with observations and analyses of human behavior. "They're trying to understand us," she said softly. "But even they cannot see everything we can do when pushed. They underestimate us." Across the globe, humans continued their quiet preparations. Engineers practiced rapid construction of energy barriers. Military strategists refined response patterns. Civilians participated in drills, sometimes unknowingly, strengthening readiness. The planet itself became a living network of observation, adaptation, and coordination. The aliens, growing more curious, began sending smaller fleets to test human reactions in controlled ways. They simulated minor disruptions, manipulated communication networks, and monitored responses. Humans adapted, innovated, and overcame every challenge. Even when outcomes were uncertain, humans adjusted their plans without hesitation. One of the most significant demonstrations came when a series of minor technical failures were simulated in a metropolitan area. Human teams immediately organized repair crews, coordinated emergency services, and guided citizens safely through the disruptions. Aliens recorded every detail, their previous assumptions about human fragility challenged at every step. Captain Moore observed the operations and smiled. "They'll learn soon enough," he said quietly. "Humans are calm when others panic, clever when others hesitate. That's how we survive and sometimes how we win." In the observation decks of alien ships, conversations between alien leaders became increasingly tense. "They are not like the other species we have studied," one alien said. "Their strength is not in power, but in adaptability, teamwork, and relentless problem-solving. How do we measure them?" "Perhaps we cannot," another replied. "They may appear weak, but their potential for strategy and innovation is unusual. Extraordinary, even." Back on Earth, humans remained outwardly calm and cooperative. They welcomed the aliens, shared knowledge, and learned from new technology. Yet every interaction carried subtle lessons in observation, strategy, and preparedness. Humans were peaceful, but they were also aware, ready, and clever. The world outside looked unchanged, streets filled with people, children playing, and alien ships hovering silently above. But beneath the surface, humanity was showing its true nature in small, careful ways. Engineers solved problems faster than predicted. Communities adapted to challenges instinctively. Leaders coordinated with precision. Humans were learning, evolving, and preparing, all without any display of aggression. By the end of the second week, the aliens had begun to question their initial assumptions. They had expected a species that could be studied, guided, and perhaps dominated. Instead, they observed a species that combined curiosity, intelligence, and strategy with unmatched resilience. Humans could cooperate without being passive. They could defend without showing aggression. They could survive, adapt, and innovate in ways that defied prediction. The aliens had come to Earth seeking knowledge. They found more than culture, science, and curiosity. They discovered hints of a species capable of turning apparent weakness into incredible strength. Humanity's true nature was slowly being revealed, not through force but through adaptability, intelligence, and relentless determination. Dr. Lewis reflected on all she had witnessed. "We are showing them who we are," she said. "Not with weapons or threats, but with the way we act, think, and adapt. That's our true strength." As night fell, cities glowed with lights. Alien ships reflected on the waters of rivers and oceans, and humans slept peacefully, but prepared. They had faced threats before and survived. Now humanity was demonstrating a quiet, remarkable power, the ability to act as a collective, to adapt instantly, and to turn every challenge into an opportunity. The aliens watched in growing astonishment. They realized that HG and peaceful yet full of resourcefulness, courage, and D. Weeks passed since the first peaceful exchanges with the aliens, and Earth had settled into an uneasy rhythm. Humans continued their cooperation, yet beneath the calm surface a quiet vigilance had taken hold. Leaders, scientists, engineers, and even civilians knew that first contact with an advanced species required both trust and preparation. Humanity had survived countless challenges before, and now they were quietly demonstrating the skills that had always defined them: adaptability, resourcefulness, and resilience. Captain David Moore walked through a secure facility, observing teams working on complex simulations. His eyes scanned the room as soldiers, engineers, and scientists collaborated seamlessly. "This is what they don't see," he murmured to a colleague. "They see a species that welcomes them. They don't see how fast we can act when the stakes are high." The aliens had been observing quietly, still fascinated by human ingenuity, but curiosity was giving way to caution. In their studies, they began to notice patterns that suggested humanity was capable of far more than expected. Humans learned quickly, adapted faster, and coordinated with precision that was uncommon even among highly intelligent species. It all began to show clearly during a seemingly small event. An alien scouting party approached a remote facility near the mountains. The humans in the area detected the scouts instantly, not through aggression but through pattern recognition, surveillance, and analysis. Within minutes, they had coordinated a response, using decoy signals, energy-dampening devices, and rapid communication to divert the scouts safely. There was no damage, no casualties, only precision and strategy. The aliens observed, astonished. No species had ever neutralized a reconnaissance mission with such efficiency without appearing hostile. They recorded every detail, trying to understand the speed and accuracy of human coordination. Meanwhile, the humans maintained their peaceful demeanor. Citizens continued to participate in educational exchanges, cultural programs, and public demonstrations. The city streets were calm, bustling with daily life. Yet the underlying layer of preparedness made every action deliberate. Humanity had long understood that true strength lay not in intimidation, but in readiness, intelligence, and adaptability. At the observatory, Dr. Karen Lewis studied the alien data. "They think they are testing us," she said, pointing to the screens displaying alien attempts to observe human behavior. "But every time they do, we adapt, we solve problems, and we surprise them. That's our advantage." Not all humans were aware of the larger implications, but those in the know quietly continued their work. Engineers developed rapid deployment barriers and improvised energy shields. Scientists studied alien propulsion, developing contingency strategies. Military strategists ran simulations not just for defense, but to test how quickly humans could react to unknown threats. The aliens' next experiment was more direct. They sent small ships to simulate a potential threat near major cities. The human response was immediate but controlled. Emergency crews coordinated with precision, using advanced monitoring systems to assess risk. Engineers improvised on the spot, repairing failures, rerouting energy, and stabilizing infrastructure. One particularly remarkable moment occurred when a citywide energy network was intentionally disrupted in a controlled test. Human engineers rerouted power within minutes. Automated systems were reprogrammed instantly. Civilians were guided safely, and traffic flows were adjusted in real time. The aliens observed with mounting respect. Humans were not reckless or unprepared. They were calm, methodical, and extremely adaptable. Captain Moore led a small team through an advanced simulation at a military facility. Using limited resources, the team neutralized multiple threats through unconventional tactics: ambushes, strategic misdirection, and rapid improvisation. Every move was calculated, every decision made with flexibility and foresight. The aliens, monitoring remotely, were both fascinated and unsettled. "They are more than they appear," one alien said to another. "We expected a species that could be managed. Instead, we see a species that can think, adapt, and act unpredictably, yet with precision." The humans, outwardly calm, continued to refine their strategies. Training exercises became more sophisticated. Engineers devised ways to integrate alien technology with human systems. Civilians contributed in unexpected ways, by analyzing patterns, organizing local logistics, and participating in drills. The planet itself seemed to operate as a coordinated system, a living network of observation, adaptation, and readiness. Even children and students contributed, learning languages, practicing communication, and observing technology. The aliens were amazed by how quickly young humans grasped complex concepts. They noted that knowledge transfer in human society was rapid, distributed, and collaborative. A child could understand a system and propose a solution that adults might overlook. The tipping point came when an alien probe accidentally activated a defensive measure near a remote human facility. The humans responded instantly, not with aggression but with controlled action. They analyzed the probe, neutralized potential hazards, and adapted their systems to prevent further intrusion. The aliens were shocked at the precision and calmness of the human response. Dr. Lewis watched the screens and shook her head. "They think they are observing us," she said, "but every test only teaches them how adaptable we are. They are learning, but they still do not know the full extent of human ingenuity." In response, the aliens escalated their observations, sending small fleets to simulate minor disturbances across several regions. Humans adapted quickly, reorganizing communication networks, rerouting transportation, and coordinating emergency services. Engineers developed improvised solutions in real time, using a combination of alien technology and human ingenuity. The aliens had to admit, humans could learn, adapt, and respond faster than any species they had ever encountered. Captain Moore reflected on the developments. "They are learning our strengths," he said to his team. "They see intelligence and adaptability, but not our full potential. If they push too far, they will discover the rest, and they won't be ready for it." Even as humans displayed calm cooperation, a subtle message was being sent. Humanity's strength lay not in overt power, but in preparation, intelligence, and adaptability. The aliens were starting to see it. Humans could organize, strategize, and overcome obstacles in ways that other species could not predict. The aliens began to hold private discussions. "We underestimated them," one said. "Their capacity for strategy, teamwork, and rapid adaptation is remarkable. How can we anticipate what they might do next?" Another replied, "We cannot. Every response is calculated yet unpredictable. They are not the species we expected. They appear peaceful, but their resilience and resourcefulness make them formidable." Back on Earth, humans remained outwardly calm and welcoming. Cultural exchanges continued, scientific collaboration flourished, and daily life went on as usual. Yet every interaction, every experiment, and every response was quietly teaching the aliens about humanity's hidden strengths. In a secure control room, Dr. Lewis analyzed the latest alien reports. "They think they are measuring us," she said. "But every observation only reveals more of our ingenuity. We are not aggressive, but we are clever, adaptable, and united. That is what makes humans unpredictable." The next simulation was more complex. The aliens created a series of unexpected events: power failures, environmental changes, and logistical disruptions. Human teams coordinated seamlessly, adjusting strategies instantly. Civilians assisted without panic. Engineers improvised repairs and temporary systems. Military teams deployed in ways that maximized efficiency and safety. The aliens observed in awe. "This is not mere intelligence," one said. "This is strategic adaptability combined with collective action. We have never seen a species act like this." Meanwhile, humans maintained their peaceful image. They welcomed alien scientists, shared knowledge, and engaged in diplomatic talks. Yet under the surface, every challenge, every test, and every observation strengthened humanity's collective skill. Humans were learning, adapting, and preparing without ever showing fear or aggression. Captain Moore looked out at the night sky, alien ships glimmering in the distance. "They are starting to understand us," he said. "But they still do not know everything. They do not see how humans can turn the smallest advantage into victory. That surprise will come later, and it will change their perception of this species forever." The aliens had come to Earth seeking knowledge. They had observed intelligence, creativity, and curiosity, but now they were beginning to see a different side of humanity. A species capable of turning unpredictability into strategy, weakness into strength, and cooperation into power. As the night deepened, Earth remained calm. Cities glowed. Alien ships floated silently and humans rested peacefully. Yet the planet was alive with observation, adaptation, and quiet preparation. Humanity was showing the world and the aliens that true power was not only in strength but in intelligence, unity, and the ability to act decisively when the moment came. The ultimate revelation was approaching. The aliens were learning, but they had not yet seen the full measure of humanity's capabilities. And when they did, the galaxy would understand what humans had always. Tensions in the alien observation fleet had grown quietly over the past weeks. They had watched humanity adapt, innovate, and respond to every test with intelligence and precision. But now the aliens decided to push a little further. They would create a controlled simulation of a large-scale threat, not to harm, but to measure the full extent of human capability. The simulation began with a series of coordinated disruptions across multiple regions. Communications networks experienced interference, transport systems were slowed, and small energy disturbances were introduced in various urban centers. From the sky, alien drones monitored every movement, expecting to see panic, confusion, or disarray. Instead, they saw humans acting with calm coordination. Local leaders organized emergency protocols immediately. Engineers rerouted power, repaired damages, and optimized the flow of energy. Citizens followed instructions with remarkable discipline, guiding each other safely and efficiently. Every disruption was met not with fear, but with resourcefulness and strategic planning. Captain David Moore oversaw one of the most complex response centers. His team directed citywide logistics, coordinated emergency services, and monitored population safety. Each decision was deliberate, precise, and adaptable. When an unexpected issue arose, a minor flood in a residential area, his team deployed temporary barriers, evacuated residents calmly, and rerouted resources without hesitation. The aliens, observing from their ships, were astonished. Every species they had studied before relied on either strength, speed, or aggression. Humans, however, relied on adaptability, intelligence, and collaboration. The scale of coordination was unlike anything they had witnessed. Meanwhile, Dr. Karen Lewis monitored the flow of information from the alien simulations. She noticed subtle patterns in the disruptions and realized that humanity was demonstrating its hidden strength. "They are watching everything," she said to a colleague. "Every move we make teaches them more, but it also shows how capable we are when we work together." Across the world, other human teams responded similarly. Engineers in Tokyo repaired a power grid failure. Scientists in Nairobi rerouted water systems, and emergency coordinators in New York ensured that transportation and safety protocols ran smoothly. Even with the vast distances and varied environments, humans acted as a single, coherent system. The aliens tried to adjust their tests, introducing more complex challenges, communication blackouts, strategic misdirections, and simulated threats in remote areas. Humans responded with innovation. They created improvised networks to maintain contact, used natural terrain to manage resources efficiently, and adapted tactics instantly. Each adaptation was faster and more effective than the aliens had anticipated. In one particular demonstration, a simulated breach of an energy facility was introduced. Human engineers assessed the situation within minutes, isolating critical systems, rerouting energy flow, and deploying temporary containment measures. Military strategists coordinated security perimeters while ensuring civilians remained safe. The aliens recorded every detail, beginning to realize the full extent of human strategic thinking. Captain Moore watched the simulation unfold on his monitors. "This is who we really are," he said quietly. "Not just survivors, but thinkers, planners, and innovators. If anyone underestimated us, they will see soon enough." The aliens convened a private discussion among their leaders. "They do not fight like any species we know," one said. "They coordinate, adapt, and turn problems into opportunities. We underestimated them." Another replied, "We see now that their strength lies not in sheer force, but in strategic intelligence, flexibility, and unity. They are unpredictable, yet precise. They are extraordinary." As the simulation continued, humans demonstrated more subtle aspects of their power. They anticipated secondary problems before they occurred, developed contingency solutions, and coordinated between regions in real time. Engineers, scientists, and strategists worked together seamlessly, blending technical knowledge, tactical skill, and creative problem-solving. Even civilians contributed to the effort. Volunteers organized temporary shelters, distributed supplies, and assisted with logistics. Teachers guided children through safe zones, community leaders coordinated transportation, and ordinary citizens helped maintain calm in chaotic situations. Humans were proving that resilience was not limited to soldiers or specialists. It was a trait shared across society. The aliens began to realize that humans were capable of more than they had predicted. They had assumed that the species could be managed through diplomacy and observation. Now it was clear that humans had an underlying strength that could never be fully measured through controlled simulations. Back at the observatory, Dr. Lewis smiled as she reviewed the alien data. "They are learning," she said, "but they still don't see everything. Humans are clever, adaptable, and united. That combination is more powerful than any technology alone." The tipping point arrived when a larger-scale simulation was introduced. Alien drones created simultaneous disruptions across several continents, testing human coordination on a global scale. Humans responded as a single organism. Resource management, emergency response, and logistical support flowed seamlessly across borders. Communications were rerouted instantly. Teams improvised solutions to unexpected problems. Every action was deliberate, measured, and effective. In one notable event, a simulated energy overload threatened multiple cities. Engineers rapidly deployed containment systems, military teams established safe zones, and citizens evacuated in an organized manner. The situation, designed to test limits, was handled without panic or failure. The aliens watched in disbelief. No other species in their experience could respond so effectively under such pressure. Captain Moore leaned back in his chair, observing the operation. "They think they are testing us," he said, "but every action shows them exactly what humans are capable of, and they still don't know the half of it." The aliens began to reconsider their initial assumptions. They had come expecting a species that could be studied, guided, or even controlled. Instead, they were observing a species that combined intelligence, creativity, adaptability, and unity in ways that made them unpredictable and highly capable. Humanity's true nature as a war machine, not through aggression but through strategy, adaptability, and coordinated action, was slowly becoming clear. Meanwhile, public interaction continued smoothly. Schools hosted alien exchanges. Cultural exhibits flourished, and scientists shared knowledge with their visitors. The world remained calm, a testament to human discipline and order, even in the midst of unseen challenges. Dr. Lewis reflected on the implications. "Humans are peaceful by choice," she said, "but we are prepared. We can adapt faster, think smarter, and work together more effectively than any other species they have encountered. That is the real power they are beginning to see." As the simulation ended, the aliens recorded their final analysis for the week. "Humanity is unlike any other," one leader said. "We must proceed carefully. Their potential for strategy and adaptability is extraordinary. They are not to be underestimated." Captain Moore and his team relaxed briefly, knowing that the aliens were only beginning to understand what humans could do. Yet the awareness that their species was being observed so closely brought a quiet sense of pride. Humanity had survived for millennia through intelligence, resilience, and unity. Now it was proving itself once again, quietly, without violence, but with undeniable power. The final observation of the simulation showed humans coordinating global responses to every challenge. Engineers, scientists, strategists, and civilians acted as one. Problems were solved in real time. Resources were managed efficiently. Communication remained uninterrupted. Even when unexpected issues arose, humans adapted instantly, never faltering. The aliens recorded their findings in detail, realizing that they had never encountered a species like this before. Humanity's combination of creativity, adaptability, and strategic intelligence was something new, something extraordinary. They began to wonder, if humans could respond so effectively in controlled simulations, what could they accomplish in real conflict or real danger? Dr. Lewis looked out at the city skyline, watching lights shimmer across the rivers. "They are beginning to understand us," she said. "But they still do not see everything. Humans are clever, resourceful, and united. When the time comes, the galaxy will know what we already know." As night fell, Earth remained peaceful. Alien ships hovered silently, Humans slept and cities glowed with quiet energy. Yet beneath the calm, humanity's readiness had grown stronger. Every individual, every community, and every system was a part of a collective strength that no alien observation could fully measure. The aliens, intrigued and cautious, realized that humanity's true nature was far greater than they had imagined. They were not merely intelligent or adaptable. They were strategic, resourceful, and capable of turning any challenge into an opportunity. The ultimate revelation was approaching, a species that appeared peaceful but could act as a formidable force when required. And so, the world continued, balanced between diplomacy and preparation, observation and action. Humans had shown their intelligent strategy and resilience. The aliens. The days following the global simulations were calm, but a subtle tension lingered in the alien fleet. They had seen humanity respond to challenges with unparalleled intelligence, adaptability, and coordination. Yet they had not witnessed humanity's full potential, what the species could achieve when fully aware of both threat and opportunity. Captain David Moore sat in a high-security observation room, reviewing reports from all regions. Every team, from engineers to strategists, had performed flawlessly. Even civilians had contributed beyond expectations. Humanity had turned every simulated threat into an opportunity for learning, adaptation, and coordination. Moore knew that what the aliens had witnessed was only a fraction of the species' true capabilities. Dr. Karen Lewis entered the room, holding a tablet filled with alien data. "They're starting to realize it," she said.
"They see our intelligence, our adaptability, our cooperation, but they don't yet see the scale of our potential."
"That is coming." The aliens, intrigued and cautious, had begun increasing the complexity of their tests. They simulated large-scale disruptions, combining energy disturbances, transportation failures, and environmental challenges. They expected confusion and chaos. What they found was strategy, calm precision, and decisive action. In one major test, a series of energy fluctuations threatened multiple regions simultaneously. Human teams responded instantly, rerouting power, stabilizing energy grids, and coordinating emergency services across continents. Engineers improvised solutions using both human and alien technology. Military strategists ensured security and safety. Civilians helped, guided, and coordinated with local authorities. Every action flowed seamlessly, as if humanity were a single organism. The aliens watched in awe. No species they had ever encountered could respond so effectively to simultaneous challenges on a global scale. They recorded every detail, analyzing human behavior, strategic decision-making, and resource management. Slowly, the realization began to dawn on them. Humanity was not just intelligent or adaptable. They were a species capable of coordinated global action with precision, creativity, and resilience unmatched in the galaxy. Captain Moore observed the alien data streams. "They're learning," he said, "but they still haven't seen everything. Humans can not only adapt, they can anticipate, strategize, and act faster than any simulation can predict. That's the part they don't understand yet." Meanwhile, Dr. Lewis analyzed the aliens' reactions. "They expected weakness, or at least predictability," she said. "Instead, they're discovering our true nature. It's subtle, quiet, but undeniable. Humans are a species that thrives under pressure, that learns faster than any system, and that turns challenges into advantages. That is our strength." The aliens decided to observe a scenario that simulated direct conflict. They introduced a series of disruptions across key strategic points, expecting to provoke panic. Instead, humans responded with exceptional precision. Resource allocation was optimized. Communication networks rerouted in seconds, and emergency measures were implemented instantly. Teams adapted to unforeseen complications, improvising solutions with creativity and intelligence. Even civilians played a crucial role. Volunteers organized temporary shelters, assisted with logistics, and guided vulnerable populations to safety. Teachers coordinated children, engineers optimized systems, and leaders orchestrated complex operations, all without chaos or fear. The aliens were astonished at the seamless coordination and adaptability displayed by humans. One alien leader spoke to another, voice filled with cautious respect. "We underestimated them. Their capability for strategy and adaptation is far beyond our expectations. They appear peaceful, But their potential for action is extraordinary. Another replied, "It is not just potential. They have demonstrated the ability to coordinate, innovate, and act as a unified species. They are unlike anything we have studied." Captain Moore and Dr. Lewis shared a quiet moment observing the city skyline as alien ships hovered above. "They are beginning to understand," Moore said. "But they still haven't realized that humans do not need brute force to be powerful. Our intelligence, adaptability, and unity are what make us formidable." The aliens decided to convene a formal communication with human leaders. Representatives from each continent were gathered in a neutral city, and an open dialogue was held. The aliens spoke carefully, acknowledging humanity's intelligence, adaptability, and coordination. They admitted that their initial assumptions had been wrong, and that humans were far more capable than expected. Dr. Lewis spoke during the meeting, representing the scientific community. "Humanity has always survived through cooperation, innovation, and adaptation. We are peaceful by choice but prepared for challenges. Our strength is in intelligence, resourcefulness, and unity. That is who we are." The alien leaders nodded, their expressions thoughtful. "We came seeking knowledge," one said. "We sought to understand your species, but we have discovered something more remarkable. Humans are not only intelligent and adaptable, they are strategic, united, and capable of action on a scale we did not expect. You are, in essence, a species that can act as a collective force with precision and ingenuity, unmatched in the galaxy." Human leaders responded with humility. "We value peace," one said, "but we are aware of our responsibility as a species capable of significant action. We prepare, we adapt, and we protect our world. That is our way." The aliens paused, reflecting. "Your civilization is extraordinary," one said finally. "Your species' potential for strategy, innovation, and unity is unlike any other. We have underestimated you, and that is a lesson we will not forget." Across the world, news of the official communication spread. People celebrated not through conflict, but through recognition of human resilience, intelligence, and unity. Humanity had proven its true nature, not through aggression or domination, but through strategic adaptation, cooperation, and preparation. In the coming weeks, collaboration between humans and aliens increased. Scientific exchanges flourished and joint projects began, yet the underlying understanding had changed. The aliens now regarded humanity not as a species to study or guide, but as a formidable and capable partner. Humanity's ability to adapt, innovate, and act strategically had earned respect throughout the galaxy. Captain Moore walked through a bustling city street, observing engineers, scientists, and citizens at work. Every action reflected the essence of humanity: intelligence, creativity, and adaptability. "They know now," he said quietly. "They understand what we always knew. Humans are more than a species. They are a force of coordination, strategy, and resilience. That is our true power." Dr. Lewis stood beside him, looking at the same scene. "And it doesn't come from aggression," she said. "It comes from preparation, intelligence, and unity. That is the ultimate surprise we can give the galaxy." The aliens, observing from their ships, continued to study human society, but now with respect and cautious admiration. They recorded every instance of human adaptability, creativity, and strategic action. They realized that Earth was home to a species capable of extraordinary accomplishments, not because of brute force, but because of intelligence, resilience, and coordination. As months passed, humans and aliens worked together in harmony. Cultural exchanges continued, joint scientific ventures flourished, and the galaxy began to recognize the uniqueness of humanity. The lessons learned from Earth's species would influence alien strategies, alliances, and understanding for generations. And yet humans remained humble. Citizens continued their daily lives. Engineers continued their experiments, and scientists pursued knowledge with curiosity. Their strength was quiet, deliberate, and understated, but undeniable. Humanity had revealed itself as a war machine not through violence, but through intelligence, adaptability, and strategic unity. In the final reflection of the first year of contact, Dr. Lewis wrote in her report, "Humanity is remarkable, not for our strength or size, but for our ability to learn, adapt, and act together. We have shown the galaxy that true power lies in intelligence, unity, and preparation. That is our ultimate surprise." Captain Moore looked out at the horizon where alien ships glimmered in the sky. "They know who we are now," he said softly, "and they will never forget it." Humanity is not just a species, they are a force of strategy, resilience, and ingenuity. That is what makes us truly formidable. The aliens, once cautious observers, now regarded humans with respect and even admiration. They had come seeking knowledge, but they had discovered the true nature of a species unlike any other: humans, capable of extraordinary strategy, adaptability, and resilience. And so, Earth entered a new era. Humans and aliens continued to learn from each other, but the respect was mutual. Humanity's peaceful strength, intelligence, and unity had transformed perception across the galaxy. The ultimate surprise had been revealed: a species that could adapt, coordinate, and act with unmatched precision, a species that had quietly become a galactic force to be reckoned with. The world continued its daily rhythm, calm and vibrant. But beneath the surface, humanity's potential remained ever-present, a testament to intelligence, cooperation, and strategic ingenuity. The aliens had discovered what humans had always known: that strength was not measured by aggression or domination, but by the ability to adapt, act,